Hi, I'm Sean Jackson and here I am now at the University of Technology in Sydney, Australia. Today I'm asking many of the students here about their opinions about the future relating to the 2012 to 2013 and what their opinions are about what will happen. Join with me now as we ask the students some questions. Many people believe that on the 21st of December 2012, many people are going to die. What do you think is going to happen this year?
I can't really imagine it going to happen because I think there's been lots of other prophecies about this sort of thing in the past. I remember in primary school we all hugged our friends goodbye in like 1998 because I think Nostradamus or somebody said something similar. It didn't happen, so I think we're more likely to blow the world up as a human race.
Will live. It's interesting to see. I mean, there's so many stories about this whole Mayan calendar and stuff like that, but I don't know, I personally don't believe it's going to be anything like that. I mean, it could be anything, but yeah, I think we'll carry on from December 2012.
Okay. Absolutely nothing. You know, we have had several doomsdays and nothing has happened, so this time it doesn't have to be different. Because there is no evidence behind that statement, so that's what I think.
Well, what we know about that is some researchers like in Mexico were researching about the Mayan calendar, and what they basically produced in their papers was the Mayan calendar changes. We were agreeing on that like every 5,000 years, something like that. And that specific moment marked for the 21st December this year, it was the end of that calendar for the Mayans. But some guy from US, I don't remember his name, wrote a book saying that that change was the end of the world instead of saying that's the end of the Mayan calendar according to them. That's what we know about that.
Nothing is going to be happened. We are going to have a normal life, and like what we had up to now.
So you think it will just be the same?
Yeah, the same way. I strongly believe that.
Okay, so it's really close. Nothing, to be honest. I'm not too sure. Like, if it happens, I'm like, okay, well, everyone was right. If it doesn't happen, it's whatever day of the week it is. It's whatever happens, happens kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so too. It's not going to change. I'm not going to wake up going, okay, let's wait for it to happen.
Yeah. After the Y2K thing, I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens now. I don't want to be like, it's going to happen and then, you know.
If it happens, it happens. Yeah. And then we'll figure out how to survive.
Yeah. And I'll kick myself. I'll regret it later.
People are talking about World War III. What do you think about the possibility of that happening in the very near future?
This might be a little bit of a crazy conspiracy theory, but I actually believe there's going to be a war on food in the next few years. There's just too much happening. The economy just can't keep growing. There are so many problems, and I just think that it's going to be something unlikely, not terrorism, nothing expected, but more about resources.
Interesting question. I mean, with so much of things happening out there, you know, I mean, like, yeah, all these wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Palestine, anything is possible, but then also I guess you kind of need to keep in mind there's
UN.
Yeah, and the other fact that, like, not the other world wars, but now countries are equipped with nuclear weapons and stuff like that, so the destruction that could be caused by something like that could be a deterrent for a world war and stuff like that.
It's possible, of course. You know, there are many political issues all around the world. For example, the current problem between Israel and Palestine. It can be one of the cornerstone of a third world world. But however, I still believe that we have learned something about the Second World War, and it doesn't have to repeat in the human history. So hopefully, it's not going to happen.
Well, I would say I have something similar, the same position. All the circumstances that have been happening before many other wars are happening these days. It's interesting, like you may have many theories. In my case, I'm not an expert, so the only thing I can say is I believe it's possible, and the same position would be for me. Like, it doesn't have to happen, but people have to be wise and think by themselves instead of what media says.
I think there are some chances to have maybe a big war, but I cannot say that I'm sure. But if you see the conflicts in Middle East and the things are going there, a war can be predicted. But I hope to do not have any war again. But depends on the big countries. Yeah, big economies, USA.
I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think it's possible too. But I don't know. Like I don't think we have a say in things. So
We have some say.
Yeah, I guess we do. But
yeah, World War III will happen, but it will be because of things we can't control. Like I think, because like I was saying, like, yeah, Europe has had their wars and everything, and everyone's kind of made peace, but then there's just still so much for the world, especially Palestine, free Palestine. Thing like that could be a war waiting to happen. Everyone's just got nuclear. Everyone thinks someone else has got a nuclear weapon, then when someone actually has one, they launch it. Everyone will jump in and try to stop it, and then it'll just.
it could be a sudden thing. Like it's not even.
I think a war is coming at some point. Wouldn't be surprised. That sounds really depressing.
I know, but look how happy we are.
I know.
Yeah, we're
This is so sad. Sorry.
Great big smile. If not on December 2012, do you believe that the world will ever come to an end?
I don't think the world as the rock will necessarily, but I think maybe, like I said, I think humans might have something to do with it, as in maybe worldwide famine or something to do with the food monopolies, like I mentioned before. I think that more than anything.
Something massive like the Big Bang Theory which happened, something like that. No, I like to believe nothing like that will happen and we'll live the way we are living. I'd like to believe that.
And also at the end of the day, it depends on how sustainable we are for the future and how exactly we preserve whatever we have for the future generations. We as people can kind of destroy our own world. So.
Eventually, of course, we are a physical body, and every single body in the nature comes to an end. That's the way it is.
Not even dinosaurs have lasted, so I guess eventually our world as humans will disappear. Probably the planet, I'm not sure, like, well, science says like in many thousand years something might destroy the planet, and yeah, like the Earth itself is a like living thing which changes and transforms like many millions of years after, so I guess it's quite possible.
Yes, for sure, but when? I don't know, maybe a very long time in the future, but based on the age of the Earth, by physics and this sort of things. But I do not believe in something extraordinary, something, It's something by science and by the nature of the Earth, I think. Okay.
Yes. I don't
Why?
know.
Because scientifically,
that's what
if we use up resources and things like all the what's it called? Non-renewable resources. I think, and the population size and all those other factors.
Yeah.
I don't know the actual. I don't know the truth in all of that, and I don't know the facts. But surely, if those things are true, if we keep increasing in size, the population increases in size, and there's not enough to support the population, it's gonna either people are gonna die or the world will be destroyed. So, still end of the world.
See, I was
Whichever
more,
way.
I was thinking more the sun will just kind of become
Okay.
a black hole at some point, and then we'll just get sucked into it. Like that's, I think, isn't that what happens?
Maybe, but
to
that's
stars?
out of control.
Yeah.
I mean,
but-
we could also cause the end of the world by just
Yeah, that's true.
living the
That's
way
true.
we're living, or the sun.
I
killing
have
us.
solar panels, so I'm trying.
You're okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
Do you believe that there's other intelligent life in the universe?
can it not be? We can't be the only special ones. I'm showing how crazy I am now.
That's good. That's good.
Wow, there's so many stories and conspiracy theories doing the round, so it's interesting, but I don't know. I mean,
Now, with the Mars, they tried that. What is it? You know, the Mars. They tried the space going there and checking.
the explorer kind of
Yeah,
thing.
but they didn't find any life there. I don't believe that. They found water, but they didn't find mankind.
Like,
It's possible, yeah. I mean, there is no evidence behind, but you know, the universe it's enough big to have another kind of life. I don't know if intelligent life, but by calculating the size of the universe, it's possible, yeah.
I think it's possible. I was just watching some TV program about Stephen Hawking, and the guy was just disclosing like numbers, not numbers in detail, but basically his conclusions about how possible is life happening somewhere else in the universe. And yeah, like recent researchers have found evidence of planets with similar conditions as Earth, so I guess it's possible.
It's a very difficult question. I think there is, but it's very difficult to prove it. But I prefer to say that there is a life, but maybe scientists do not believe on the other life, and I like to have the other life as well, but it's very difficult to prove it.
Yes. I think it's arrogant to believe that we're the only ones there. I don't know where or what. I think it's ignorant to think that nothing else is out there.
How about intelligent though? I think there's life out there, but I don't know.
Oh, intelligent, that's actually pretty true.
Depends.
Well, you never know, like, how we developed and everything could have happened
Yeah.
somewhere else. Maybe a different way, but what is
We agree that
intelligent?
there's something out there
Yeah.
apart from humans.
Could be intelligent in a different way that we don't understand and kind of thing. Like for their planet, maybe it's advanced intelligence and everything. Go into philosophy.
Head.
Do you believe that the future can be seen?
Never say never, but I don't think so. It's a bit too... Can't even comprehend how that would happen.
Asia, they believe the astrology thing where they think about the future, they predict the future, so-called. Most of it is, some of it is true, some of it is not, so I don't know whether we can see the future, but they do talk, this is likely to happen in your case, this is, you will attain money, say 10 years later, or you will study, you'll become a big person, but to see the future beyond that, I mean, what I mean to say, in Asian countries, like in India and stuff, we have astrology, where they predict the future, but to a certain extent it's true, so to a large extent it's not true, so I don't know whether we can see the future.
What do you think, Patrick?
I think I have to agree with you. Coming from a South Asian country again, this whole astrology thing is very much inbuilt into our society, but it kind of can, it's more like, you know, I mean, I personally don't believe about any of this. It can be a guide, but then I really don't think anything you can really predict what could happen.
No, we can predict some stuff. You know, following the history, we can predict that humankind will face some troubles, but we cannot see the future.
Same position. Like you can predict based on like previous history and information that you already have, but not predicting like really accurately or like watching your sphere saying it's gonna happen. Rarely.
No, I don't believe in seeing the future. We can predict it by some signs and some happens that can be predicted by someone can come and say that I can predict the future. I think it's not possible.
Yeah, why not? I'm very open-minded about
Yeah, I think both of us are pretty much going to say yes to everything. Everything's possible.
I think so.
Anything is possible.
It's like I don't know how it works, but I don't think that everyone's fake. I think some things are true, some things are possible. Some things have been foreseen in the
Or
past.
something you can just predict as being very, very, very unlikely but not impossible. So
Yeah.
So maybe you can see that it's going to happen. That
Well,
kind of
Nostradamus predicted that the two towers would fall. I remember that.
from history.
No, from 2011 to from the 9/11,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like stuff like that. Like I think it's possible. I just don't know how it works. I haven't figured that out yet.
What about a nuclear war? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, anything's really a possibility. With us stupid humans.
Yes. Yeah, with so many countries building up their nuclear plants, it does seem like a possibility. One day some country will lose its mind and start nuclear war. Yes,
Yeah, it's a scary thought. It definitely is, and like she said, I mean, with so many people, countries building up their nuclear arsenal, it could happen. Accidents could happen, but it also could be a deterrent for countries not to. But I guess it's at the end of the day, I mean, the country is responsible. I mean, to be responsible for their nuclear weaponry, if you would put it that way. Yeah.
Of course it is. Many countries around the world have, all the necessary tools to develop nuclear weapons, and they are being used and tested, for example, in North Korea, unfortunately, and in many other countries in the Middle East. So, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, I also think it's possible. How much? I have no idea, but people are just willing to use those kind of toys just to hurt themselves. So I don't know if people or like governments, but it is basically. First, I think I said I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I can say it's possible. Sorry about that.
Yes, I think it's possible to have a nuclear war, and it depends on that how countries behave to each other and how can they tolerate each other. And yeah, they should be very patient. Yeah, otherwise there will be a high chance of having a nuclear bomb, nuclear war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's possible. You got the Cold War where the Soviet Union and the States were fighting to have their nuclear weapons ready and prepared, and it was just kind of anticlimactic, thank goodness. But there are nuclear weapons around. I reckon it will be used at some point. I mean, someone will want to use it, someone will start it. It might not be like as a nation, but someone will start something.
If it's in the wrong hands, or if it's just misused, or someone thinks they're just being powerful, they want more help.
Yeah.
Any of those kind of factors.
Anything can be used in a war. I mean, if they exist, so it's a possibility, I'm sure.
If it's nuclear war, what sort of your ideas about what will happen? Do you sort of have any ideas about how that will happen?
The world will go to hell.
I think there'll just be a massive explosion, and we wouldn't even know. It'll just start off small and then it'd just be chaos, I think.
Hiroshima was small, it was huge. And then When the Wind Blows, that book, do you remember that comic book? Like, if a nuclear war, depending on the locations, if it takes over a lot of the world, it's going to significantly affect our environment and all the people. Like, some people get sick, so many genetic mutations that happen, and a massive nuclear war would affect us. I mean, maybe not necessarily strokes or so isolated, but no, it's really bad. That could end the world.
Yeah. Even produce, whatever we import and export, they're affected by radiation.
Sorry.
If the world does go on, what do you expect will change?
I don't think much will change. Unfortunately, I think we've gone sort of too far for, even if we did start behaving well in terms of the environment, in terms of so many different areas, we've already gone too far, and I think there's going to be some inertia that will follow that won't be very pleasant. I think, what was the question again?
Do you expect What do you expect will change, if anything?
I think we're slowly changing now, but I think it's still a bit late.
Evolution. I don't know. We kind of evolved from the ape to what we are today. So I don't know. You can't see the future, like you said. So we really can't predict.
Yeah. What changes? I mean, changes in what context? It's just random change or
Any change?
no? I can't see anything.
Hopefully humankind will become more conscious about our problems and how to solve them. But you know, humankind has been basically the same thing since civilization started till now, so I don't see any meaningful change in the near future.
Same position, I guess. I wouldn't change anything though. Like, still humans are interesting themselves. Like, you can see how many things they have produced, like, throughout these thousands of years of history, and you can see the bad things and also the good things. I'm not in the position to say let's see the good things like watching flowers, but I'm pretty sure it's good. Like, what we've done as humanity, it's good.
We can be more advanced in technology, go to space, discover more planets, maybe more stars, having some other new kind of life outside of this world, and yeah, everything will be completely changed in terms of technology and this sort of things. Transportation system, communication system.
I think there'll just be like another day where it will change. Or, well, it will change.
If there will be some change, what do you expect?
Oh, if there will be.
Like environmental.
Well, it depends what the change is.
I think, like in regards to when the world and everyone would look for something else. Like, everyone thought the world would end, like Y2K, everyone thought the world would end, and then this comes out. For all the people that believe it, their beliefs might change. It might, I don't know. People that don't believe it, they won't. Yeah, people that don't believe it will just.
Are you scared about the future? What's your opinion?
I just don't think that, I don't know what everyone else is saying, but I just don't think that is it the Mayans? Did they do it? I just can't imagine it happening. I mean, the world as we know it, imagine, you know, this one specific person's prediction or group of people's prediction out of everyone else's predictions. Why would this one eventuate when the others haven't? It's just it's really unforeseeable. How? Was it said to be a global, like a natural disaster? Is that what they...
Or they haven't specified if it's natural or not, but just basically,
Well, it seems like a definitive date, and if it was something that humans could do, and we were already worried about it, I think that already would stop it from happening in the future. So it would probably have to be natural disasters, but I don't think so.
I'm not scared. According to me, life will go on.
Yeah, I believe the same. I think, like you said, it's more about the man-made disaster, like nuclear kind of stuff, which is more worrying than in terms of extraterrestrial or other stuff happening. But that I'm not worried, but it's the more nuclear destruction kind of things that I'm worried about.
I'm scared of what humans are able to do. You know, in the pursuit of richness and power, I'm scared of what governments can do. Especially talking about wars, new weapons are being tasted. That's what I'm scared of.
No, I'm not scared. Like, what I've seen is still life goes on, and you can enjoy whatever you're doing while you are here. Like, some things may change in the future, but still you cannot change it by yourself. Like, it's good to put your own part of it and do whatever you think is correct, and the rest will happen eventually.
Scared about future, you mean? No, I'm not scared. I think whatever will happen, I'm a part of that's a story and I cannot do anything, so I try to accept it and adapt myself. Be afraid and be scared cannot do anything for me. I'm not scared.
I think I'd be scared when I see something happening, but I don't want to think. I probably, like you, I don't want to even know about it. I don't want to find out more about it because
Just worried.
yeah, I think I will be scared if I find out more, or I might scare myself in finding out more information. So at the moment I'm not scared, but if something happens, I'd be a bit frightened and want to find out how I could just survive and how my friends and family could survive. Just want to find a way out or something.
Yeah, I'm a little scared for the future. I mean, you always are, but it's in that sense of, you know, you don't know what's going to happen, and that's the best part of it. That's why I don't want to,
It's a thrill more than a fear, I think.
Kind of thing, yeah. So if you kind of look and go, oh, the world's going to end on this date, and it's just you think about it too much, and I'd rather just, you know, plan for the future as if you have a future, just kind of keep going in that way rather than thinking I only have up to this point. Just kind of live as if you're just going to keep living or not going to live anymore, I'm not sure. Just keep going, just try not to think about it, just enjoy the present, don't think about the future, or just, yeah, it is an ignorance makes you feel comfortable kind of thing, as in, yeah, it's just protecting yourself, but at the same time, it's the fact that you don't know the future kind of makes it more exciting and gives you hope for something interesting coming along.
Do you think that we can see any extremely advanced technology in the near future, just like the ones that we see in the science fiction films?
When I was younger, I had a book that predicted in 2005 there would be teachers that were taught in screens in classrooms, and I think some other crazy stuff like flying cars, and I really believed at that stage that when I was able to drive that I would be having to drive in the air, and that just didn't happen. So I was fooled at a young age to think that we would progress, but I think we have progressed hugely, but nothing. I think that freaky stuff will happen later down the track if our resources are still around to use in factories to make it, and if the economy hasn't become crazy. So I think we have potential, and we've supposedly been to the moon, who knows. If we have been to the moon, then the government's done a good job about lying. If we haven't, rather, the government's done a good job about lying about that when they aren't good at other things. So I think we must have gone to the moon. So yeah, I think it's possible.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, there's so much of, I mean, science has developed from what it was and to what it is now, and there's still, you know, people experimenting, exploring, so there's definitely going to be major changes in years to come.
Science is developing every day. Each day we are having newer and newer technology, better technology, so I'm sure we'll come up with something more in the future. You buy a phone yesterday, you have something advanced today, so we will come up with something. I'm not scientific to know what we'll come up with, but we will keep coming up with different new technology.
Yep, there are people working on that, you know, they get inspired by the fantasies of, you know, that sci-fi video clips, and suddenly they become true. That happens with the internet, and as he said, the mass media are evolving really fast, so it's not really amazing. That most of the times happen is that people is not so close to science that they cannot understand that it is a progression of knowledge that finally becoming something really impressive. So yeah, amazing things can happen, but it's not a miracle.
Yes, of course, as I said, we are going to have a big change in our future lifestyle because of the advances in technology, and there is no doubt about it. Yeah. I think first of all we are going to see that the resources on Earth are going to be finished, like oil, gas and these sort of things. So we have to find new resources, so we need to go to the other places, and let's say to the Mars, to the moon, and so we need to get to some vehicles with the very high speeds, maybe the speed of light. So So I think one day we can get to that point. How we can travel with the speed of light to get to new places and save our lives. Otherwise, with this number of people on the earth, with this population, it's very difficult, I think, to last in this world.
Yeah, I think so. Technology has always been advanced. It doesn't mean actually, oh, now I'm going to contribute. I think it will advance because from the people I know, they've always developed new things and they're finding out more ways to be more efficient with technology. So I think it will, but I don't know if there'll be like an infinite amount. Yeah, I don't think it's so extreme, but
yes, I think they're already developing it. It's just not out to the public yet. I mean, studying science will kind of tell us this is happening. You're like, I don't even know how you do that. And there's a lot of new ideas that are just shelved, or they're just trying to make it work. But I mean, you've seen the Samsung phone. There's like a beam. It's a projector from the actual phone, and that's like, I didn't think that was possible. 10 years ago we didn't have touch phones, and now we do. And 20 years ago we didn't have no phones. And it's advancing. It's just different kinds, and I don't know about hover cars, but yeah, depending on what advanced technology is, it's that.
I think it's how you define it too. I think so, because if people who have made those films have come up with ideas like that, there's nothing stopping them from making that happen. I mean, it might take time, and we might not have everything we need right now, but eventually, if that idea is there, I think they will pursue it.
And I think like a lot of science fiction writers that have some kind of, the best thing about science fiction is that they have some kind of basic knowledge of it. They'll have some, theoretically, if we could do this, then this could happen. So they've got, like you were saying, there's a way to get there. So yeah, it's possible. It's always possible.
That's what we say.
Yeah.
That's what we say for everything. Playing it safe.
Did you see the warning of what NASA released to the public, talking about an event in space that could ultimately wipe out life on planet Earth?
No, I don't have a TV. I just read books, so I don't know what they've said. Wow, I think we've kind of had these scare stories happen a lot in the past. Like I said, in primary school, everyone used to go crazy hearing these little things, but if it was really a big thing to worry about, then they would have done something about it, unless it was going to, destroy the whole world. Is that what it was supposed to do? Oh, well, in that case, I guess there's no point in telling us, so maybe that's the thing that will happen and kill us, who knows?
I heard about it, but I was told it was not true. It was just hearsay or something like that. It was not credible.
I had not heard about it. I really can't say.
Cool, okay.
Well, I'm a bit surprised because I really enjoy reading newspapers and everything, and I have not heard about it. However, yeah, of course it's a possibility. Around the Earth, in the space, there are many big asteroids and everything that eventually can impact the Earth. And I know that there are developing weapons so they can detect it and destroy it in the surface, but well, what else can I say?
Well, I've heard about that for many years ago, there's always a chance of a huge thing impacting against the Earth. Just like he said, they can monitor that, and I don't know if the technology exists, but if the warning is recent and is connected to this thing about the world ending in 2012 and so on, I don't know, I would say it's just stuff to get people a bit confused. If it's true, to be honest, I haven't seen anything, so it's just like he said, I don't know, if you want something to be seen, call it Britney Spears, whatever.
It's possible, but when and how it's going to be happened, I don't know, because it's something about physics, about the science, and maybe kind of stone will hit the earth sometimes. It's acceptable and cannot do anything. We just to accept it.
No, I did not say that. Really.
Is that real? Is it real?
What wouldn't you coming at some point. I mean, like if it is a comet, at some point beforehand we'd be able to like this, you know, by the the route it looks like it's heading away. Then we can we can kind of prepare ourselves in some way. Like it's not going to be like some big surprise. I mean, you can see the sun. It's just going to be like, oh, this is coming closer.
Yeah. So I never heard about it, but even if I did hear about that warning, like what can I do? I'm still gonna go to work and to uni, and or maybe not uni.
Maybe not you.
Just cut that one out. Cut that.
Well, I'm not finishing this degree.
Yeah, no, I don't need to do this assignment. But even if they did, I've graduated. Hopefully I pass. So if they did have to have released that, or if it came on the news so everyone knew about it, what difference would it make? Could people actually prepare to do anything in advance? Because if they could, then yes, it would be beneficial to hear about it, but I haven't heard it, and it wouldn't have changed anything, because I'm guessing that either NASA can do something or nothing will happen at all. Like they can either, I don't know, shoot something at it and break it up into pieces, which is like what in the movies they show in movies.
That was in Trump. Yeah. No, I reckon like for individuals, all we'd pretty much do is be like, okay, the world's ending. What have I always wanted to do in my life? And it would just kind of push you to do that instead. Like, you know, I always wanted to climb Mount Everest or something, and you just kind of be like, well, why not do it today? Because I might not get a chance. Like that's all that we could actually do, control our own lives and make the most of that, as opposed to stopping the comet. Once you find some other sci-fi thing.
But you want to keep swimming. You don't want to just go.